I can tell you this, though. If you look at Iowa, we did it right. I mean, we got the endorsement of the governor. We won the debates, the Miami debate, the Newsom debate, the News Nation debate, the CNN debate. We did televised town halls, got great response.
But
we
you
went
didn't,
to all
you didn't
99
win a single
counties.
county, right? I mean, in 99 counties, you didn't win a single one. You
here's
visited
the thing.
them all, to your credit, but you didn't win a single one.
But I also had, how many people would have been able to handle $50 million in ads? How many people would have been able to handle all the headwinds we did? I mean, we had a very uphill battle. We dug in and we executed and we did run hard. We did do well. And what we got was traditionally what is considered good in a caucus. Nobody's gotten 50% before. This is something where you have a de facto incumbent president. So we're proud of the effort that we did there. I think we did it right. It was a challenge. I mean, we're facing challenging circumstances, but you got to play the hand you're dealt, and you got to do what you can do to be able to amass support.
Nothing puts Ron DeSantis' delusion on full display quite like going on a victory lap after losing Iowa by 30 points. For a party that rails against participation trophies, they sure do seem to enjoy participation trophies. Notice how when Neil Cavuto calls DeSantis out on not winning a single county in Iowa, DeSantis complains that Trump had too much money and they had too much of an uphill battle. I'm sorry, but I sat here for the last 6 months and listened to Ron avoid uttering a single ill word of Donald Trump, and yet now he's complaining that he couldn't beat him? Yeah, that's how it works. When you are losing and you decide to gently caress the guy beating you, you're going to continue losing. And so the notion that DeSantis wants to suddenly complain about how tough this race is evidence that he's either too stupid to understand what a competition is or too incompetent to know how to win one. But either way, the outcome is wholly unsurprising. And to that exact point, Cavuto asked DeSantis if he would ultimately support Trump if he becomes the nominee. And for the same reason that DeSantis has never mounted a serious threat to him thus far, he of course said this.
What is your relationship with Donald Trump now? I mean, would you support him if it looks like he is the party nominee?
Well, I signed the pledge. I'm never somebody that takes his ball and goes home. And so that's just how I am. I mean, I don't take any of this stuff personally because it's not about me. It's about a larger effort, a larger movement.
As if there was any doubt. Even the guy purportedly running a serious presidential campaign will roll over and vow support for his party's God King the moment he's challenged. If you're wondering why this guy was whining about how much of an uphill battle he faced, it's because he can't stop pandering to the guy who's actually beating him. Now, one point worth noting from the original clip, DeSantis says that he was going up against a de facto president in Donald Trump. To that point, the results actually reflect poorly on both Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. As far as Ron is concerned, even if Trump is running as the incumbent, you still lost. People not choosing you is still people not choosing you. When you lose every single county in the entire state, that isn't grounds for a victory tour, it is a message from the voters. You can make up excuses, like how much money Trump had, but by the end of the day, a loss is a loss. But as far as Trump is concerned, if he's running as an incumbent, then that is also a pretty dismal showing. The guy managed only 50% when he's supposed to be the leader of the Republican Party, and we're supposed to think that's a good showing? I've sat here for the last 3 years and listened to every Republican pundit under the sun ordaining Donald Trump as the second coming of Christ in the Republican Party, and yet he lost half of the support among the most engaged primary voters in the GOP? Not exactly what I'd call a vote of confidence. In fact, that 50% number wasn't the only cause for concern for Trump. An entrance poll asked voters if convicted, would Trump be fit to be president? And of course, 64% said yes because it is a cult of personality. But 31% said no. That is 31% of Iowa Republican caucus participants saying that Trump being convicted would be disqualifying. And look, not that I can predict the future, but the dude is contending with 4 prosecutions and 91 criminal charges. He is going to be convicted. And even if half of that 31% of voters defects back to Trump, then that would still leave a massive 15% of Republican voters who would view Donald Trump as unfit to serve. And in another concerning number, according to the new Des Moines Register poll out of Iowa, 11% of Iowa Republicans said that they would vote for Joe Biden if the choice was Biden and Trump. I want to be clear, this would be an 11% defection of Republican primary voters. These aren't your squishy independents, these are primary-based voters, the avowed Republicans who are paying attention 11 months before the election. And 11% of them are saying that if Trump is the nominee, which all signs point to, then they will actively support Joe Biden. If that is not a blinking red light for Trump, nothing is. Of course, at the end of the day, even those major warning signs won't hinder Trump's ascent in the Republican primary at all, because look who he's going up against. Competing against Ron DeSantis is like racing a guy who voluntarily ties his feet together. He would rather light tens of millions of dollars in donations on fire than wage an effective attack against someone who, let's face it, is pretty ripe for attack. Remember, Donald Trump has been responsible for Republican losses in every election since 2016. He was responsible for Democrats retaking the House in the biggest midterm margin in modern American history in 2018. He himself lost by 7 million votes in 2020 and lost both chambers of Congress. He watched as the GOP's big red wave yielded them all of a 4-seat majority in the House in 2022. For a guy who promised winning, I'm curious when that part actually comes. So look, I am beyond certain that we'll see more mealy-mouthed half swipes by the Florida governor who's running against a guy whom he's too afraid to actually compete with. And as soon as he's tired of setting his donors' cash on fire, his pathetic campaign will culminate with his eventual endorsement of Donald Trump. Because while Republicans beat their chests as alphas, in the end, weakness and capitulation is where they feel most comfortable. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to the channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way, and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.